The day began like any other in the Alaskan expanse, cold, crisp, full of promise. I was at Merrill Field, a small airport, a vital link to the remote wilderness. My gear was packed, my spirit ready for adventure. But adventure found us first, in the wrong way. Suddenly a blare, a klaxon, shrill, urgent, cutting through the morning calm. It was a sound no traveler wants to hear, an alarm that spoke of immediate, unseen danger. All motion ceased. The usual airport hum died. Instantly. Ground crew froze mid-step. Pilots in cockpits looked out, confused. Passengers waiting to board, their chatter silenced. A wave of unease washed over everyone. What was it? A fire? A security threat? No one knew. But the air thickened, heavy with unspoken questions, and a primal growing dread. Then the announcement started. Garbled at first, tense. Attention all personnel and passengers. Merrill Field is now under lockdown. Repeat. The airport is under lockdown. Remain calm. Await further instructions. Calm, easy to say, hard to do. My senses sharpened, every instinct on high alert. Before the sirens, Merrill Field was a hive of activity. Small planes, like hardy insects, buzzed around. Bush pilots, tough as old leather, exchanged stories. Their laughter echoed in the chilly morning air. It was a place of departures, of new beginnings. A threshold between civilization and untamed lands. The smell of jet fuel mixed with pine. A unique Alaskan perfume. I felt the familiar pull of the wild, the call of the mountains on the horizon. The terminal was small, functional, wooden beams, large windows framing the Chugach Mountains, maps of vast unpopulated territories adorn the walls. A testament to Alaska's rugged soul. People moved with purpose, some with excitement, others with the quiet resolve of those used to harsh conditions. Kids pressed their faces against the glass, watching planes take off and land. A normal scene, deceptively peaceful. A fragile bubble of order. I was checking my rucksack one last time, ensuring every buckle was secure, every piece of kit in place. Survival often hinges on small details. The air outside was sharp, invigorating, the kind of cold that makes you feel alive. I anticipated the solitude of the backcountry, the challenge. The first clear report came crackling over a guard's radio. His face went white, utterly white. He fumbled with the microphone, his voice trembling. Confirmed sighting, on runway 16. A pause. Then the words that chilled us all. It's a grizzly, a very large grizzly bear. Not just any bear, a full-grown male. Agitated, lost, and incredibly dangerous. It had somehow breached the perimeter fence. Now it was on the active runway. 1,000 pounds of raw, unpredictable power. My mind raced. Grizzly bears are icons of the wild, magnificent, but also incredibly strong, fast, and fiercely territorial. An airport runway is no place for such an animal. The scent of fuel, the noise, the unfamiliar terrain, it would be stressed, confused, aggressive. This was a worst-case scenario, a wild card thrown into a place of strict order. The potential for disaster was immense. Human lives were suddenly, terrifyingly at risk. Through the terminal windows we strained to see, at first nothing, just the empty expanse of concrete. Then a dark shape, moving with surprising speed. It was huge, bigger than I imagined. Its fur, a matted brown, rippled as it loped along. It paused, sniffed the air, head swinging. A creature of immense power, utterly out of place. A collective gasp went through the terminal. This was no distant wildlife sighting. This was an immediate present threat. Close, too close. The bear seemed to grow agitated by the sounds. The sight of the grizzly sent shockwaves through the terminal. Fear erupted, raw, uncontrollable. A woman screamed. A child started to cry. People backed away from the windows, as if the glass offered no protection. The veneer of calm shattered completely. Instinct took over, fight or flight, but there was nowhere to flee. We were penned in, trapped. The hunter had become the hunted. Airport staff, though clearly shaken, tried to maintain order. Their voices, amplified by megaphones, were strained. Please move away from the windows. Stay calm, we are handling the situation. But their own faces betrayed their anxiety. This was beyond any emergency drill, beyond anything they were trained for. How do you handle a rampaging grizzly with procedures, with protocols? Nature doesn't read the manual. My own training kicked in. Observe, assess, survive. I scanned for exits, for defensible positions, not out of cowardice, but out of preparedness. The bear was outside, for now. But airport terminals have large glass doors, vulnerable points, easily breached by a determined animal. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Then the professionals arrived, swiftly, decisively. Airport police were first, securing the terminal doors, their faces grim, their movements precise. They knew the stakes. Human safety was paramount. Next, Alaska wildlife troopers, men and women accustomed to such encounters, but rarely in such a public, confined space. Their vehicles, rugged and purposeful, rolled onto the scene. They carried tranquilizer guns and heavier firepower, a last resort, one nobody wanted to use. Communication crackled across radios, voices calm but firm, issuing orders, coordinating. Unit 1, establish a perimeter on the north side. Unit 2, approach from the east. Slow movements. All aircraft, hold positions. Do not approach. They were trying to herd the bear, gently, away from the terminal, away from the planes, towards a safer, more open area. It was a delicate dance, dangerous, unpredictable. One wrong move could be fatal, for man or beast. Inside we watched, breath held, a silent collective prayer for a peaceful resolution. The troopers moved with caution, respectful of the animal. They understood its power, its fear. This wasn't about conquest, it was about safety, for everyone involved, including the bear. They used their vehicles to create a visual barrier, slowly, patiently, nudging it, trying to guide its confusion towards an escape route. The standoff on the tarmac continued. Each moment felt like an hour. The wildlife troopers worked with incredible skill. They were trying to avoid harming the bear, their primary goal to guide it off airport grounds, back into the wilderness that bordered the airfield. They used their trucks, inching forward, creating a slow-moving funnel. The bear paced, growled, clearly distressed, but it began to move, away from the terminal. Finally, a breakthrough. The bear found an opening in the perimeter fence, a section that had been damaged or was less secure, perhaps the same way it had entered. With a final, lingering look back, it bolted, a brown streak disappearing into the dense spruce trees. A collective sigh of relief swept through the terminal, so profound it was almost a physical wave. The immediate danger had passed, but the tension lingered in the air, thick and heavy. Airport officials quickly moved to assess the situation. Runways were inspected for any damage. The perimeter fence became an urgent priority. How did this happen? What needed to change? Flights were, of course, significantly delayed. Some would be canceled. The airport remained closed for several more hours. Safety checks, security sweeps. As the airport slowly returned to a semblance of normality, the echoes of the morning's terror remained. Flights eventually resumed, delayed, rerouted, but the experience had left its mark on all of us. It wasn't just the inconvenience of a shutdown, it was the visceral encounter with raw, untamed nature, a reminder that we are guests in these vast lands, not always the masters. The bear was a symbol of the wildness that endures. Even at the edges of our concrete world, the incident sparked conversations, debates about airport security, about wildlife management, about the delicate balance between human development and wilderness. How do we coexist? How do we protect both? These are not easy questions in a place like Alaska, where the wild is not a distant concept, but a constant, powerful presence. The authorities had handled it well, no lives lost. The bear returned to its domain, shaken but unharmed. A best-case outcome for a worst-case scenario. For me, it was another lesson from the wild, a lesson in humility, in preparedness. Even in a controlled environment, the unexpected can happen. Nature has its own rules, its own agenda.